Hi everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled, the TV podcast here on the Mild Fuzz Podcast Network. I'm Peter Bradley, and with me as always is Mario Miranda.
What's up, guys?
And Connor Ryan.
Hey everyone.
Now, this of course is the TV podcast, and as always we're going to work through the week's TV news. There's quite a lot, because quite a lot of pilots being ordered right now, and a bunch of other stuff coming out of the TCAs and things like that. Of course, if you listen to the audio version, we're reviewing a bunch of TV shows at the end of the audio version. You can find the timestamps for them in the description of all the audio versions. If you're on YouTube, of course, just click the annotations at the end of the video to go to all the reviews from this week, which includes, of course, basically just all comic book shows at this point. This week was nothing but superhero shows.
I feel like you forgot to write it down again.
I did, but I'm just winging it. I'm going for it. I'm winging it. So Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, the new Legends of Tomorrow, which me and Connor watched, and you can see what we thought of that. Actually pretty good, so we go in depth on that. Agent Carter was back, we watched that, reviewed that. Alan came back for that review, so exciting. Obviously Arrow, Flash, all that stuff. I feel like everything...
And Angie Tribeca.
iZombie wasn't this week.
I'm saying, but no iZombie.
Yeah, no iZombie. But even when that comes back, that's still a comic book show.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That we were
Yeah.
just missing. That's the only show we were missing.
And Angie Tribeca, of course, as well, is the one non-comic book show we did this week, which is the new comedy pilot from TBS, starring Rashida Jones. It wasn't quite South of Hell bad, but me and Connor did not approve. So you can listen to all that later in the audio version, clicking the annotations at the end of the YouTube version. But let's get into the week's TV news, and there's quite a bit of it. First up, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Season 2 is coming, I believe, in April. But that's not all. They renewed it this week for Season 3.
Bonus.
So
I'm serious. I probably will watch both of those the day they come out.
I hate you so much.
I have nothing better to do in my life except sit
Yes, you
there and
do.
watch it all.
Yes, you do. Because you haven't watched The Wire or The Shield, and you're fucking
But
terrible.
I have to commit to those. I can watch Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt in
See,
one
you're
day and just sit
committing
there and watch it
to
all.
TV excellence, though. And Peter will back me up on this because this is some of the best shows of all time.
well, The Shield is phenomenal. The Shield is Breaking Bad before Breaking Bad. Mario would argue it's better. I wouldn't, but I think they're both top line shows.
I'm not arguing with the quality. I'm just saying it's way easier for
You
me to
just
just sit
said I
there.
have nothing better to do, and I'm just telling you that you do. It's called.
It was a poor choice of
Now,
words.
to be fair, I will probably use Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt like I did the first season for my TV during dinner. I like to put on a comedy during dinner. It'll be there to watch. I will probably watch it, but I didn't love the first season. Like I got through it because it was easy
The
to get
thing is,
through.
it comes out for me right as I'm writing my end of year assignments. So I could just put it on my other screen and just watch it while I write.
in the non-Daisy Ridley screen.
No, it kind of takes over Daisy Ridley temporarily.
What?
Oh, dear.
That's your shrine.
I know, but I need my main screen to do the work, and then I have to watch something.
So actually, I've been watching New Girl. That's my current sitcom that I'm working through, and for zany female lead characters, I prefer New Girl over Kimmy Schmidt by quite a margin.
I would agree with that.
But because it's not as wacky, it's a bit more grounded
Yeah.
and relatable. So, but no, I mean, we're going to Kimmy Schmidt getting season 3. So if you like that show, then great. I'm actually just happy that I'll get to hear the theme song some more.
It's a good song.
It's a good little time. Speaking of Netflix, though, Jessica Jones was officially renewed for season 2 this week.
Mm-hmm.
I actually didn't realise this was this week. It feels like so long ago now that we were talking about this just sort of casually, but Jessica Jones coming back.
It's interesting.
That's
Considering
interesting.
we thought they would just bring that into the whatever Luke Cage, Danny Rand,
Yeah.
Jessica Jones show that comes after. So it really does sound like they're just kind of playing it by ear.
My concern, though, is that with them having the season 2s, it's going to push everything else back. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, Daredevil getting a season 2 has already kind of had a knock-on effect.
I don't think it's necessarily.
Potentially.
I don't think it's a case of pushing things back, honestly. Really, when I think about it, I think it's. I think Daredevil, that'll it will probably get renewed, right, and it'll probably have a season 3 next year, right?
Mm.
Daredevil will just be however far along it is, but what they're waiting for is to after they've launched all 4 of the original announcements before they get to Defenders. I don't think Iron Fist has been pushed back because Daredevil has a season 2.
But I felt Iron Fist might be pushed back because of Jessica Jones getting season 2. So If Daredevil is now, and then we'd had two this year, two last year.
That's speculation on our part, though. We don't know at all what their plan was, or if they even had a plan.
I don't think they have a plan. I think that's really what's happening here. It sounds like they're just trying to figure it out depending on the reaction from people.
Yeah.
And now they're kind of just figuring that out as they go along. And they might even start moving to 3 shows a year, really, considering if they keep being successful and they keep adding and people want... Like, if Punisher ends up being as awesome as you think he's going to be, and people are really clamoring for another season, a spin-off show for him, like, there's no reason why he wouldn't mix it in.
Oh, it's funny you say that, because there was rumours this week that they're considering a spin-off for Punisher. Whenever anyone was asked about it, they kind of dodged the question, said that they're just happy to introduce him here, which to me says nothing's been confirmed, but they're probably talking about it, so they don't want to comment on it. So that's pretty cool, and I do think it'll move to 3 a year. They flat out denied it when they were asked this week if they'll move to more than 2 a year. They flat out denied it. I don't care what they say though. I think they'll move to 3 a year, maybe even 4 a year eventually.
If everything's getting renewed, they have to, or they will literally never hit like anything towards the end. Like, because you'll get a season. Say season 2 of Daredevil is this year, and then you have
Luke Cage, the fall, winter.
Right. So then we've got Daredevil in presumably the March or so after that.
We don't know.
Season 3. Yeah, presumably, assuming it got a renewal. So then you have to fit Jessica Jones in, and then you've got to fit Iron Fist in.
Right. And then Punisher in there.
And then you got to fit Punisher.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this: I don't think Defenders comes at the end of all these shows. I think it's just once they've all launched, then we get Defenders, and then the shows as an individual.
It's like Avengers, the same thing. Like,
exactly, yeah.
They happened, and then they kept going on with their own Avengers.
But like you say, if now that 2 of them have been renewed, if Luke Cage gets renewed, if they don't combine Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, because they might do that after season 2 of Jessica Jones. Like Luke Cage will have his season, she'll have her season 2, and maybe he'll be back in season 2, and then he'll just stay there,
right?
Or vice versa, you know. So that might happen, but that's been renewed. If Luke Cage gets renewed as well, if he doesn't get merged, and then if Iron Fist starts and gets renewed, and then it's like, well, what happens then? Do we only get 1 season of some shows every 2 years? If they're sticking to this 2 a year, that feels weird.
Yeah.
So I think they will, and I think the timing of Daredevil is actually quite telling, because last year it was April, this year it's March, and they said it was going to be 6 months between each one, but that's already shorter because that's only 5 months since Jessica Jones, and I think they're gradually going to shorten
the window.
Yeah, I think it'll be 5 months again, and we'll get Luke Cage and what's the year 5, 8 August, right? We'll get in about August, Luke Cage, and then if it's another 4 or 5 months, maybe we get Jessica Jones at Christmas or January. And it just shortens it a little bit. So it's still technically been 2 this year, but they've got us used to it being a bit shorter as we go.
We have inside source so we can ask.
That's true. There's no information at this time, but we did know the release date roughly for Daredevil well in advance.
So we'll ask about Luke Cage.
Yeah, but we have to protect our sources, so we can't comment. But Kel, as far as Jessica Jones season 2 itself, though, Mario, you didn't love it. Connor, you did love it. I liked it a lot. I had some problems with it, but I generally was entertained. My worry with season 2 is that there's going to be too much of this nuke bastard that I thought was easily the weakest part of season 1.
Yeah, I feel like, especially as season 1 hinged so much on Kilgrave, like that was the show essentially with her. So when you've taken that element out for this, like it's going to be like, where do you move on from that?
I almost hope it's going to be a little bit, and I almost never say this. I want an overall plot, but I do kind of hope it's a little bit more procedural, and that there's some cases she takes throughout the season, like smaller ones that she solves in an episode or 2. You know, that'd be fun. Mario, you're the more of the expert here. What do you see them pulling from the comics?
Well, they ran out of material there because.
Already?
Yeah.
Well, by herself, she only got 1 series, and then as soon as that series ended, it turned back. So originally it was a Max, which was kind of their own line, which was all like mature adult theme books that had cussing and sex and stuff. After that, they brought her into the rest of the Marvel U, and then she just kind of turned into the side character that was married to Luke Cage, and like they hung out together. But as part of like the New Avengers, as part of like whatever other comic book, she was never Jessica Jones by herself. So that's why it's hard to really tell.
Well, maybe that just means they're doing their own thing now, or maybe they'll take like a D-list villain from somewhere, make it the villain for season 2. I can also season 2 being the origin, if you will, for Hellcat.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's well because at the end of the first series she got pregnant, so really she already had that thing going, and obviously Luke Cage was very much attached because now he's gonna have he's gonna be the father of her son. But I wonder if maybe they could even have because Daredevil isn't confirmed to be like openly Daredevil. Like there could be another case she's after, like there's an overarching theme of like trying to find out who he is or something like that.
Yeah, maybe season 2 connects it a bit more to what else has been going on in the Marvel Knights side of the universe, as we'll call it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's interesting. But yeah, Jessica Jones has been renewed, and that's pretty cool. And we're possibly getting a Punisher series, which also sounds cool, assuming we like him in the show, in Daredevil, when it hits in March. So come back on March. Launches on March 18th. We'll have our big binge review up at the end of the 19th. So you can look forward to that. We're going to bust our asses off to get that to you. And that's the same weekend that Batman v Superman's out, which is especially taxing for a few of us. So good luck with that. Anyway, so let's get on to the rest of the news, which is basically mostly all pilots and series orders from various networks, with a couple of other small things mixed in. First up, AMC has working on a pilot called Feed the Beast, which is it a drama? Is it a comedy? It's a drama. And it stars David Schwimmer and Jim Sturgis. They've cast it already. It's those two. And it's based on a Danish drama called Bankerot, which I've never heard of, but I'm not from that area, so that's fair enough. But it centres around two best friends, Tommy Moran, played by Schwimmer, and Dion Patras, played by Sturgis, who take one last shot at their dream of opening a restaurant. Feed the Beast is adapted by Clyde Phillips, who worked on both Dexter and Nurse Jackie. I've never heard of the original show. As for, I mean, there's nothing about this that says it's going to be good or bad. I think it's two people opening a restaurant, so a decent enough idea for a TV show. You can see you can see how the season arc works up. If the final episode is going to be the opening, say, then you can see how them getting permits, hiring chefs. Like you can see the plot building.
Yeah, it's a weird one because it's like there's obviously they've got something specific in mind if they've already cast the leads.
Yeah.
And that's just it's interesting because there's not much information to really go on outside of that.
No, there's not. That's the same with a lot of these pilots. Is we just kind of have to.
But yeah, the same thing. A lot of these just sound decent enough. It really depends on how they do it.
Yeah. So fell that under that. Could be good, could be bad. It's a decent enough idea though. Next up, ABC has ordered a pilot for. I'll just say it as bluntly as I can. A sequel to Romeo and Juliet.
What the hell does that mean?
How do you sequel that?
Believe it or not, this isn't even like an original thing. This is based on a book from 2013.
Of course it is.
It's called Still. It's called Still Star-Crossed, and it's a period drama that picks up where Romeo and Juliet left off, charting the treachery, the palace intrigue, and the ill-fated romance of the two families in the wake of the young lovers' tragic fate. Spoilers for Romeo and Juliet if you didn't know that they both died at the end.
I don't know. It sounds like you can play it off as a political drama.
Yeah, except it happens to be a period piece that's set in Shakespearean times.
The real question is, do they stick with the Shakespearean dialogue? That would be a brave choice.
It would be brave. I mean, I'd almost definitely not watch it if that was the case.
I feel like I'd be more inclined to try it because it would set it apart.
That said, though, if they subtitle it, I don't mind foreign language. But it might as well be a foreign language because I don't understand half the shit that comes out of Shakespeare's scripts.
You uneducated Scotsman.
Hey, we did 3 or 4 Shakespeare plays in English in school, and I just didn't get it. I didn't get it at all. I'm sorry. Maybe that makes me uncultured, but nah, not for me. But anyway, so yeah, sequel to Romeo and Juliet's coming to ABC. Well, that said, these are all pilots, so I mean they could not actually get picked up, but they're potentially coming to ABC. So that's that one. Next up, also at ABC, we've got an Untitled comedy pilot. Got to love a good show that's called Untitled. I kind of feel like someday they should just call a show Untitled and see if they get away with it. But ABC is expanded its relationship with the Goldbergs creator Adam Goldberg. It's a family comedy, but there's a bit of a twist here. So it's a female-led pilot with a 30-something bachelorette whose life turns upside down when she finally meets the love of her life, a divorced father with 3 kids. This triggers an even more upheaval when the slightly unhinged imagery of a friend she created as an only child suddenly reappears in her life to help her navigate the transition from single girl to woman ready for family. So it's about a girl who meets a guy. She's finally growing up and like sort of settling down, but her imaginary friend shows up, which made me think of Drop Dead Thread.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea for a show, really, honestly.
No, it's not. Again, especially with a comedy, like it feels like it's simplistic enough that it gives you freedom to kind of just do whatever, but there's still an end game in mind.
It could be really funny. I mean, I've never seen the Goldbergs. I've not heard particularly good things, so I mean, I have no really basis for comparison or expectations on this. But the plot on its own sounds fine. I mean, it could be funny.
Yeah.
The imaginary friend doing lots of random shit when no one can see it except her. Could be a hoot. But I mean, it's always 50-50 with these things. Next up, let's shift over to CBS for a few pilots from them. First up, we've got one comedy here, which is from the creators of How I Met Your Mother and Hilary Winston. It's referred to as a romantic comedy pilot. It's called My Time / Your Time. And I could read the whole thing. But where is it? Hold on, I'm trying to find it. Do they even have something to this one?
This is pretty shoddy hippie.
It is. Alright, yeah, that's okay, I found it. It's one sentence, but I'll sum it up by basically, it's a long distance relationship with someone who lives in the Pacific time zone and one who lives in the Eastern time zone. That's it, that's the premise. It's based on a web series called 7P/10E.
You already fucked that when you said web series.
See, my one thing that makes me interested is How I Met Your Mother's best strength was when it played with different times and jumping around between times, like how one thing was supposed to be in one time and then it was in another time, and they kind of blurred those lines a lot. So maybe that sort of idea will carry over to this sort of thing, because it could, in that sort of, given the concept.
Maybe. I didn't like How I Met Your Mother anyway. I gave up on that a few seasons in, so...
Yeah, well, you clearly have no taste.
No, I clearly do have taste. I think that's what we've established here. But anyway,
more of your greatness also came out at the same time. Good job.
Yeah, more of my greatness. Hey, flubs are okay as long as you're making fun of me while I'm doing it. That's good enough. Right, so sticking with CBS, they've got another comedy that's multi-camera, which instantly puts me kind of, against it a little bit. It's called Superior Donuts, and it's based...
Superior Donuts,
and it's based on the 2008 play by Tracy Letts. It's a multi-camera comedy that follows the relationship between the owner of a donut shop, his new employee, and their patrons in a gentrifying neighborhood of Chicago.
I honestly thought it was going to be another cop comedy when you read the title.
Yeah.
No. It's a donut restaurant shop. That's the premise. Which, to be fair, comedy premises should be that simple.
Yeah.
Because it's the characters that make it work, and that's fine.
I mean, it's not really much different to Bob's Burgers in that sense.
Fair enough. They've also ordered a drama called Bunker Hill, which revolves around the young Silicon Valley tech titan who enlists a veteran surgeon with a controversial past and starting a hospital with a cutting-edge new school approach to medicine. But I have not much to say about that.
Kind of just, it's another one that's just kind of there.
Yeah. Sticking with CBS, they're not done yet. They've ordered a couple other pilots. There's a comedy based on an Australian show, which is referred to an extended family show. It's about a wife and a mother who learns she was adopted and that her birth parents are a flamboyant but loving family of drag racers.
Mario just perked up.
Okay. The hell?
I don't know if they've officially titled the American version yet, but the Australian title is Upper Middle Bogan.
Cool. Is that coming on Stan?
It might be on Stan. There's also the other pilot they're doing, which is not a comedy. It's called Drew, and it's a reimagining of Nancy Drew. It's a drama. It's loosely based on the Nancy Drew book series. It'll centre around a 30-something Nancy Drew, who's a more mature version of the classic story. Nancy is now a detective for NYPD, where she investigates and solves crimes using her uncanny observational skills, all while navigating the complexities of a modern world.
So it's female Sherlock Holmes.
Sounds a little bit like that, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not that familiar with Nancy Drew as a property.
Nor am I.
Maybe it's more of an American thing. Mario? No?
Does that look like someone who would read that?
Okay, fine. Don't be so offended. Just got to ask.
I wouldn't want to insinuate you read, Mario.
Hey, I read a lot. Just usually
They have to have pictures.
usually these people dying and stuff.
I've never read a book. It's a Red Dwarf reference for Red Dwarf fans out there. Alright, so we've got some... Swapping over to NBC, we've got some comedies from them as well, from some familiar names. First up, an entitled comedy from Amy Poehler and Charlie Grande follows Carl, who, after years of partying that earned him the Black Sheep label, returns home to compete with his brother for the family throne. That's a single camera comedy. Also, Rashida Jones, oddly enough, is producing, I don't think she's starring, but she's producing an NBC comedy, which is multi-camera, called Good Fortune. It focuses on a hyper-structured young woman whose life is upended when she starts taking advice from a mysterious fortune teller. That could be terrible.
Yeah.
Not feeling that one. And then a third comedy pilot they've put in for is The Trail. It's a serialised comedy following a young big city lawyer and his oddball defence team during a high-profile murder trial set in a small southern town. And that's single camera.
Is there any talent attached to that?
It's created by writers Jeff Astroff, who's from The New Adventures of Old Christine, and Angie Tribeca. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear.
That good idea suddenly just kind of lost me.
That sounded okay, and then till I read what this guy had done already. Well, there was a second guy named Matt Miller, but there's nothing for him. By the way, thanks to Variety for all this news. This is where I'm reading all this from. So if something's hard to find on a page and it's taking me a while to get to it, it's their fault. I just want you to know that.
I mean, you could have just copied and pasted it all beforehand into somewhere nice and easy to read from.
I know. I've been using my linking system for ages. That's not. It's fixed what's kind of broken, but not that broken. All right.
It's more of that greatness, Connor.
Greatness.
Just keeps on pouring out.
Yes. All right. So still with NBC, we're looking at two drama pilots here. Miranda Rights. Mario there's starring in this one. Now it's Miranda's Rights is a 1 hour legal soap about an idealistic group of lawyers who not only work together but live together in their startup firm.
Kind of sounds more like that should be a comedy.
Also, it says soap, which instantly makes me think, never going to touch that.
Sounds like a shit Daredevil.
There's no blinding, there's no crime fighting. What?
Well, they're lawyers, so there might be crime fighting, just legally
kind of.
crime.
Yeah, but not punching people in the face.
Exactly.
which is what you'd hope. On a TV show. Next up, this one's a bit more interesting actually, also from NBC. It's called Midnight Texas, which is written by Monica Uezu-Breen. Apologies if I butchered your surname there. But she worked on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Brothers and Sisters, and Alias. That's Alias, the TV show, not to be confused with the Jessica Jones comic. But it's a supernatural project described as Twin Peaks meets True Blood. Based on novels from the same author as True Blood, which made me lose interest a bit there.
Yeah, the books were better than the show.
I never read the books, but I didn't like the show very much.
Everything up to that sounded decent.
Yeah. But it's set in the remote town of Midnight, which is in Texas, naturally, where your neighbour could be a vampire, a witch, a werewolf, or even an angel. Mystery, horror, and romance combine to both enthrall and frighten any outsiders who decide to venture into this unusual place. The Twin Peaks reference makes me interested, but I mean, it could still be garbage. But, I mean, the person who's writing the pilot did work on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I like, so...
Well, most of that sounds pretty positive to me.
Yeah, most of it. It's just the one sort of... the one issue. Okay, here's the one that I think is going to make us the most interested, particularly me and Mario. Also at NBC. I'm going to just throw some... the show's called Time, to start with, but I'm just going to throw some facts at you, Mario, and tell me just how your interest rises with each one. First of all, time travel.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, Eric Kripke.
Okay.
And third of all, Sean Ryan.
Okay.
And if you don't know who they are, Sean Ryan was the showrunner on The Shield, and Eric Kripke was the showrunner on the first 5 seasons of Supernatural. They are combining forces to showrun this. Yeah,
Supernatural, not so much. The Shield.
Yeah.
That's where it's at.
Yeah, The Shield. That was the one. That was the name that stuck out to me. But the first 5 seasons of Supernatural are pretty good too. But not as good as The Shield, of course. That's not going nuts. But but yeah, Time is described as a high-octane drama. Time follows an unlikely trio who travel through time to battle a master criminal intent on altering the fabric of human history with potential catastrophic results.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, it does sound fun.
I think it sounds like something I totally want to watch.
Yeah, it sounds like Time Cop, but without Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, sorry, boy.
No, but I mean, it sounds like they're chasing after someone who's trying to mess with time travel, so they're going after him to stop him. That sounds cool.
Right.
I like that. I'm game for
I'm
that.
thinking science fiction, The Shield.
That'd be great. Can they get Walton Goggins and Michael Chiklis back for that? Come on, let's have them two and then Dean from Supernatural as the trio.
In the car.
In the car, yeah. The car's the time travel device. Alright, so that's Time, which is the one that I think is easily the most interesting, at least to us, and maybe our audience, I'd imagine. So that's pretty cool. But we're not done yet. Jump over to Fox, because they've ordered one thing this week. They ordered a pilot for The Exorcist. Yes, The Exorcist.
Great.
Hey, this will be the big budget South of Hell that we wanted.
Yeah, but enough TVs are coming to TV shows. Just leave it alone.
Enough TVs are coming to TV shows?
I mean, sorry, enough movies are featured in the
meant.
TV shows. Leave them alone.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look at it this way. We've already got a Psycho TV show and also an Omen one just about to start. And then we're getting The Exorcist. And Friday the 13th in development. Although I'm interested...
Scream, right?
Scream is a thing as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I'm interested in Friday the 13th because I want to see how they do that. But yeah, so this is going to be a 1-hour drama, obviously. Described as a modern reinvention inspired by the original book. A propulsive, serialized psychological thriller following 2 very different men tackling one family's case of horrifying demonic possession and confronting the true face of evil. Yeah, so
I think my problem with it is it sounds like such a finite idea.
it is, yeah. Basically, the season's going to be some kid's going to get possessed, and 2 men, presumably priests, or one of them's a priest at least, I'd imagine, are going to try and investigate it.
But but like, even if you take the book and then spread that over to say however many episodes this is going to
Well,
be.
I don't think they're actually adapting the book though.
Oh, okay, you think they're just taking the idea?
Yeah, it's just the idea thing. I don't think. Well, for a start, there's not two men doing it in the movie or the book. I don't think. I could be wrong. I've not read the book, but I'm assuming the movie's fairly accurate. It was written by the author of the book, after all.
How was it?
Yeah. So, but yeah. So that's Exorcist on Fox. Next up, swinging over to HBO, Judd Apatow has a comedy pilot that's been ordered, and it is called Crashing, and it's about a comedian who's a bit down on his luck and ends up sleeping on the couches of various comedians that live around the city in New York.
So just lots and lots of guest stars.
That's what it kind of sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be cool.
And
Yeah.
given how many people Apatow knows from these movies and shit.
From everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that? Didn't he have a Netflix that just got that like trailer thing? Isn't he doing a Netflix show?
I think he is, but I can't remember it.
I feel like I watched the trailer, but I can't. I
I
can't
posted
really
it
remember.
on the chat for you guys.
Yeah.
I forgot what it's called though.
Well, we go through so many of these news and pilots. I guarantee you, when one of these comes up, other than maybe Time and The Exorcist, because we've heard of The Exorcist before, I guarantee you we won't remember any of these when they come up later.
Sounds about right.
And we'll be like, oh wait, I vaguely remember that.
Especially the ones that don't even have names.
Yeah. This is true.
You're probably right about that.
This is true. Also, the lead character is going to be played by Pete Holmes, who's also going to be working as a writer on the show. So that's Crashing. Next up, I kept most release date announcements off this because we had so much news anyway. But I thought, since we did cover a little bit of the Americans in retrospect, I thought I'd mention that American Season 4 is debuting on March 16th on FX.
Oh, sweet.
Are you caught up, Mario? Did you watch all 3 seasons?
No, I finished season 1.
Right, okay. Well, if you want to get
But-
caught up, then you,
Yeah.
that's your...
It's really good. It definitely gets better
Oh,
as you
good.
go on.
Maybe I'll go back into it myself. I got like to episode 7 or 8, I think. Of
Something
season
like
1. Yeah, that was something like that. And it was just a case of all the shows were starting in September, and it got left behind in the dust because there was just so much to keep up with. But no, that's pretty cool. So also they've been talking about teasing that they're going to set an end date for this soon. So I don't know if that's the end of season 4 or if they're maybe going to announce season 5 and say that's the last one. But you'd imagine they'll have to pick a sort of end point for that at some point, just because the type of show it is.
Yeah.
There has to be a conclusion where everything sort of comes together. And then the last thing in the news this week, that one was mainly for Mario, this one's mainly for Connor. Although I do like it, I'm just like seasons behind, and I like to catch up every so often. Doctor Who, Stephen Moffat, is finally leaving the series after season 10.
See, this piece of news makes me so excited yet so infuriated at the same time. Like, yes, he's finally gone. Like, I'm so sick of him now. I just want to go away. But now knowing his replacement, which is Chris Chibnall, who's done a bunch of episodes for that, and he's done all the best episodes of Torchwood, which was obviously a spin-off.
And also very prominent, especially for you people in the UK. Although I do know that US people watch it as well on Netflix. Broadchurch. He was the showrunner on Broadchurch.
Yeah, he's a great writer. But knowing that there's not another episode now for a year because the next episode of Doctor Who is going to be the Christmas special. So there's no actual there's no season in 2016.
and it's January, so that's a while away.
Yeah, exactly. So that really sucks. And then knowing that when it does come back, it'll be like, yeah, Doctor Who's finally back, but I've got to sit through another Moffat series till I can get the new stuff that I actually want, which isn't going to be till 2018 now.
Well, who knows? Maybe Moffat will have a big blowout. He's got all his best stuff planned for the last.
See, that's what's really annoying though, because the last one that's just finished was like easily his best, and I wish he'd just gone out on a high and gone, that was it.
But you think he might ruin it all better?
One thing I do like though is they noted it's moving back to its spring release, which it used to do a few years ago. And now, obviously, lately the last few have aired in September, along with all the American stuff. And then, which was weird because obviously then you had the Christmas special. And it was only like 3 weeks after it finished, so it didn't really feel special.
Yeah. Whereas normally it'd end in the summer, and then they'd be, it's been 6 months, so it's nice to
Yeah.
get. Yeah, that's good. Admittedly though, the taking the year out is actually great for me because it means that I might actually be caught up by the time that
You should. There's been some good stuff lately.
because I finished season 6 the last time I watched it, so...
Okay, 7's a train wreck.
7's a train wreck. How's 8 and 9?
Eight's pretty good. It's definitely better than 7, and it's a bit better than 6, but it's a bit hit and miss. 9 is excellent, apart from maybe 2 or 3 episodes.
Interesting. I tend to watch a season of it and then ignore it for like a year and then go back and watch a season of it again. Like that tends to be how I get through it. But yeah, so that's big Doctor Who news. So if you're a big Doctor Who fan, that obviously was big stuff earlier today that broke. Alright. So that's the gauntlet of news. Finished, I'm happy to say. So if you're listening to the audio version, we're all about to start all our reviews for the week in whatever order we usually have them in. I can't remember off the top of my head. And then if you're watching on YouTube, do click on the annotations at the end of the video to go to all those reviews. Like I said, all the superhero stuff from this week, including the Returning Agent Carter and the brand new Legends of Tomorrow. So check those out if you're interested. And if you don't care about superhero shows, I kind of feel you, because even this week was like, all I had this week was comic book shows. I kind of want other stuff. So, of course, next week, you know, X-Files will be back. We'll be checking out the pilot for Lucifer. We'll also have iZombie back. And then, not too long after that, Better Call Saul will be back. I'm sure Mario will be back with The Walking Dead when that hits back in February. And Game of Thrones whenever that hits in a couple of months. So there's more stuff coming that's not comic book related. But right now, it just happens to be that all the shows are comic book. Not our fault.